I wanted to have a quick rundown of this assignment. Let's take a look at what's on the website. Forget to always look to see if there is anything interesting in here that you can reuse. Some of the stuff is here. So it is important to have, like I always say, good documentation. So I put the basics the ArrayList have available in the Java documentation. If you scroll down, you can see that we have a constructor, we have the methods, and there are a lot of good methods over here that we can reuse, and we're going to put them in practice. Not all of them are really, not that they're not meaningful, it's just that we don't want it to go overboard. Like, for example, we don't care about the clone. There's a bunch of things that we will not need, especially for this assignment and for things that you're going to be doing. So this is available in the website already. And then there's also something here. Click on this link, and this link has examples. I find it very interesting to have examples because sometimes I learn more from the examples than from whatever, the blah, blah, blah that they say. This site has gone through a lot of changes, and every time they make a new change, it looks nicer. So what is it that we have to do? Let's go over here. So I'm going to use a program that already was done last year, maybe a couple of years ago. I think it was last year. And so take a look over here. It's asking you to create an array list called ArrayList. It's not a very creative name. And it's asking you to, let me move this a little bit to the right here so I can see the things better. Okay. 100 random integers between the values of 1 and 1,000. So as you can see over here, that first we created the array. This is where you create an array list. And the interesting thing about an array list is that is a dynamic structure. Let's see if we can find a good picture of an array list. Because what would be a good representation? All right, let me look at images. If there is something here. Well, it looks pretty much the same as you have seen. Let's see, can I click on this one? Yeah, as you can see, the size of an array list can change, and that's why we call it dynamic. As opposed to an array, you define the value of it, and there is nothing you can do about it. You can shrink it, and you can make it bigger. However, an array list, it allows you to do that. You can remove elements of an array list, or you can add more to it. You will get a default value in terms of the number of elements they will be created with. And as you can see, if you go to the API, did we have it over here? There. A constructor, there is a constructor that allows you to create an array list with already an initial capacity. And the default value is 10. So we don't think 10 is good enough. And if we're going to need more, then ArrayList is implemented in such a way that it will know what to do when it needs more. So to be able to create 100 integers, especially at random, and between it values, here we can have a for loop. And now we're going to be using the add method. Method that comes with an array list. So all you need is the name of the object of the array list, and then the method and the integers you're going to add to it. This will be added at the end of whatever is already there. One thing that I didn't mention is that here's a parameter type, or a type parameter, I should say. ArrayList were not always like that. They didn't have this at the beginning. And so by default, it will take ArrayList of objects with an uppercase O. An uppercase O object is what I call the parent of all classes. You're gonna learn in inheritance that. So everything that all classes are coming from a class called object. And this has very few methods, as you can see. The ones that we're going to concentrate on is the equals, what else? Anything else that we need from here? Oh, and the toStrings. Those two are the ones that are used the most. And so whenever you use a toString from any other class, it's actually coming from the object class. Some authors call it the cosmic class. Now that makes the compiler work a little bit extra, because now we have to figure out what kind of object did you actually put in the array list. So when I say object, that means that you cannot put in the built-in types. You cannot put it int, but you can put an integer right here. And as you can see, if I put over here an int, it will auto wrap. Let's take a look. Let's put an int over here. And I'm going to put also an int over here. And I don't need a new. And you will see that. Oh, actually, hold on a minute. I don't need this. I don't need this. So it's taking an integer. Let me see if it will take it that way. Yes. And it will auto wrap this, meaning, let me put it in the next line. So even though X is not an object, it will become an object automatically. That is called auto wrapping or auto boxing. And so all the classes, all the building types have wrapper classes. Wrapper classes are classes coming from, implemented, I should say, implemented around, and that's why it's called wrapper class, built-in types. I'm going to put it dash right here. Built-in types like int, lowercase, chart or card, become character, boolean. All of them have wrapper classes. It wraps around the built-in types, and it provides lots of members, from instance fields to methods. Like, for example, add is a method coming from ArrayList, and it will allow you to actually put in there a built-in type, because now it does auto wrapping and auto boxing. This was not always true. In only a few years that AutoGo has changed that. So the next one is we're looking for display the values. And this is of both numbers, and then to comments up. So here is number one. And in the question over here, it says find the two consecutive integers with the smallest difference between the two of them, display the values and indices of both numbers. So that's something new. That's why Jessica is only showing over here just the difference. So in your assignment, you have to display also the values and the indices where they come from. And leave up to you to figure out how to do that. Number two says just a meaningful and complete message for all the following. Let's start with the message, the largest value of the ArrayList. And something that you learned a while back is, let's take the first element of the array, in this case, ArrayList, and put it in max. Anything that is greater than that will replace that value. The same thing with, what's the next one for the prints? This is the average. So we're looking at the average. So we're looking over here to add each element, and here's the get method. And we also have over here the get method. That's an accessor method. Accessor method that ArrayList already has. So any object that is part of an ArrayList is going to have all those methods that were designed, implemented in the ArrayList. Let's see. What's the next one I want to talk about? 3 spaces in 10 columns. Let's see if this is the one. So this was the ArrayList. I mean the average. Yeah, let's take a look at this one. This is the one that students usually struggle a little bit, and that's because we use this printf not as often as we should, but this code would allow you to, number one, break to a new line after 10 elements had been printed. As you can see right here, it says 10 columns. That means that it's going to print sideways 10 integers, random integers, and we add in a space to it, right? Because it says three spaces, right? And sometimes, of course, the number itself is going to have less than 3 digits, but it will be, it's asking you to do it in columns format, so it doesn't matter. So when that happens, in fact, that is, you're going to go to the next slide. And you can see that over here. There it is. So this is what I mean by meaningful messages, meaningful and complete messages. Make sure that you do have this. And this is what that particular assignment will look like, which is number 4. Now, when it comes to 5, take a look at the way Jessica has included the numbers over here. Now, this is from last year, so the numbers might not correlate as well as they should. So on 5, we have prompt the user for an integer and replace the 10th integer with this new one. Oh yeah, so in this case, it will be number 5. What made the difference over here? Oh yeah, because here I ask to be printed in 1 line. I don't have that over there. Oh yes, it's 3. What was I thinking? So in 1 line is right here. So something has changed. What did I change? Oh, because I changed 2 into A and B. So let me put that over there so you guys don't get confused, because I know you get confused very easily. So this is 2A. Sorry for the sarcasm. This is 2B, or not to be. And there we have 3. And now we can call this 4. 4 was the printing by columns, and 10 by 10. And now 5 is over here. Now this is getting a little bit more aligned with the new questions. And now pay attention to how you find the 10th integer. Okay, pay attention to that. Pay attention to how we actually ask for, prompt the user for input. So this could be done a little bit different. I would just use, what did she do? Yeah, she didn't need to do it this way, she could have done what she, and I think many of you know that it would be in a scan. We scan that next int, and that would have worked too. Okay. What is number 6? Number 6, prompt the user for a number and search for the number, display the number and the index where it was found, or -1 if it's not there. So once again, this is happening over here. And so index is going to be -1 unless it is found. And what do? We use a for loop. Next year, or whenever, if you take the next class of this, you will learn multiple ways of writing a for loop, right? An iterator, and then you have also the enhanced for each loop. What's in 7? In 7, it says remove 10th, every 10th integer and print the message with the number. Okay, now here, this is very tricky, removing the 10th number. Because every time you remove something, the element is going to be shifted. All the elements in the array list is going to be shifted. So you have to be careful that in fact that happens. So my advice is to print the array list before you actually do the remove, and check that in fact the 10th integer is being removed. Every 10th integer, not just 1/10 integer. And so obviously you're not going to have the same number of elements in the array list as you did before, right? 8, print the number of elements array list contains. Well, that's an easy one because we can use a method called size. Did I get rid of it? No. Oh, yes, I did. Oh, here. So we can look for size is right here. It's good to be familiar with the documentation over here for array list. And here it is. Size returns the number of elements in the list. So let's go back over here. We're almost done with this. Yes, it says use the print F key to keep all numbers. Tab properly. I hate to use the word tab, but I want it to be looking good. So let's see. Right, here it is. All right, so that's pretty much it for the first introduction to array lists.